Well, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Everybody, Cantonese Cat here. Haven't been around for a while. I'm going to talk about SoFi. A top five position of mine. I've been really dollar class averaging for years down here. And going through thick and thin, finally we are hitting some pretty bullish trend here. You can see that is making a higher high. The question is whether or not it's going to make a higher low and how low, right? The whole thing right now, if you just look at the previous all-time high here back in February 2021, which is around $28, and all-time low here around $4, you do a Fibonacci sequence between all these numbers here, you can see that currently it is just sitting around the 0.5 level. It's basically gone halfway and it's taking a break. It's been taking a break for the last few weeks, and it's not really doing much. Some people think that when you're having consolidation sideways like this, looks like a little bit of a diamond. Some people think that, oh, this is a diamond top, but honestly, a lot of these kind of diamonds are just continuation patterns, and I see this as a continuation pattern. It could potentially break down. If it does, it could go down to around 13, 14, somewhere around there. I think it's entirely possible because the fib level down below here on linear is going to be 0.382, which is around $13.42. And the next level down on the log scale is going to be $13.69, which is 0.618. And if it back tests 0.618, actually that would be a bullish thing, right? You can see how this level here is pretty important support, turn resistance level over here. So to come back and back test it, that's not the end of the world. Actually, it would be a very, very expected thing for it to do. Do I think it has to come back further to back test some of the lower levels down here below? I do not necessarily think so, right? The other thing too, if you just look at I'm just going to draw this here real quick using again here, and I want to use the number 360 because it's a good multiple of 45, and I'm going to change that number to give me the market symmetry here that I want. So you can see if you use the Gann here on log scale, it's been really following a lot of these like arcs and angles here almost perfectly well. It's just stuck between these this blue arc here for such a long time, and finally was able to break out above. It just went out to the next arc here, back tested it perfectly, back tested the angle over here perfectly too, and just decided to go up to the next arc. Right now, what are we doing right now? Well, we also are just kind of hanging around here at the arc, back test the lower arc here already. Does it mean that price have to come back to like 13, something like that? Not necessarily, right? You can see how price is kind of respecting these angles and arcs here very well. Could it wick down below and touch that at any time? Yeah, it can. Just like here, it can wick down underneath the arc and the angle, grab liquidity before going up higher. I argue that we probably have already done that over here. So it doesn't necessarily have to go down to like 13 or something like that. But it could. There's always a possibility that it could. It would still be a bullish chart though, if it does. It would just be backtesting the 0.382 on the linear scale and the 0.618 fib on the log scale. And all of these would be bullish developments if it ends up doing that. I'm not going to try to sell, like I'm telling you, like that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to try to sell high to buy low on a uptrend because you just don't know how high and how low it's going to go. And it can be extremely stressful, and I think a lot of people are not psychologically made to be traders, and the more you go in and out on an uptrend like this, the more mistakes you might end up making, right? Not financial advice. I'm just kind of saying like that's my personal experience based on what I'm looking at. It's also that's my experience when looking at other people. When I said personal, I meant per P-U-R-R. Anyway, yeah, so it's basically holding a support level over here. Nothing to really get that concerned about right now. If you're looking at the monthly chart, the whole idea right now is the monthly candle has closed and we got a monthly candle way outside the upper Bollinger Band. Should we be scared? Maybe. But I think next month's going to come and the Bollinger Band is going to continue to expand just because of this crazy volatility that we're experiencing right now. I think it's going to keep expanding. Now, the question is, how high can SoFi go? Because the question is no longer whether or not this is a bull trend. because it's forming higher high here. It could form a higher low at some point. I don't know when, but how high is it going to go? That's the question, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, some kind of higher low. We're expecting the trend to continue until otherwise invalidated, right? Now, the whole idea, usually if you're into the whole Elliott wave theory thing, we have a big consolidation here for about a year and a half. If you're looking at this as wave 1 and this is wave 2, wave 3 is what we're experiencing right now, which is why it's so impulsive. And generally wave 3 is the most impulsive wave of the 5 waves. Usually things go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Wave 3 is generally the one that's most impulsive, and usually it's the one that lasts the longest. So I'm not going to get in the way of a wave 3 bull trend, especially when you're looking at the Bollinger Band really starting to just expand here, right? This is generally what happens with wave 1. Wave 1 basically makes the 20-month moving average curl from negative to positive sloping. Wave 2 is the corrective wave, and wave 3 is the one that allows the Bollinger Band to really truly expand and allow price to go up a lot higher. That's what we're experiencing right now. I'm not going to get in the way of that. If you ask me how high SoFi can go, that is always a tricky question, right? There are 2 ways to kind of look into that. One is to do a Fibonacci level. It depends if you believe in linear scale or log scale. If you believe in linear scale, usually things tend to want to hit 1.618. Sometimes they might even hit 2.618, right? Let me see, where's my 2.618? I'm not seeing it here. Generally, it hits 1.618 or 2.618 before any major correction happens, once you're able to push through like the 0.618 level. So I think it's probably going to need some juice here to get to 0.618 here. We'll see how it reacts. We might end up just bouncy ball here between these couple areas over here in the high teens before pushing up further. But if we're able to break above all these levels, especially if we break above the 0.786, then I think 1.618 around $43 and 2.272 around $58 or 2.618 around $67 are going to end up hitting. We probably got enough momentum to kind of push through that maybe sometime in 2025, 2026. And once we do, I think that those are going to be the targets probably by the end of the decade. Probably by like 2030. I think we'll probably hit like a $40 to like $60 SoFi somewhere up there. Is there any other confirmation to suggest for that? Again, the Bollinger Band is just now starting to expand. It's going to allow price to go up higher over time, but we're a little bit overextended. People are going to get scared if we ever end up having a little bit more correction through sideways or through price. But the overall thing is that this trend is very bullish, and we're just going to let it do its thing. And I'm going to do a Gann chart here. I'm going to pulse this here. I'm going to show you later. All right, got 360 and 0.2. I'm going to go and zoom in here. What you're going to see right off the bat, I'm going to get rid of this fib level here. What you're going to see right off the bat is you see a very similar support level here as I did with the weekly, which just push through, back test the arc here almost perfectly. You're also going to see that there's a possibility for it to break down underneath the arc to go to the 0.382, which is going to be the Gann horizontal line over here. All those things would be healthy if it ends up doing that. But lots of support here. If we break down here, going down here, right? We don't have to. That's the thing. We don't have to. If you're looking at overall, like if you just kind of zoom out here, and again, I'm going to get rid of this fib level here. If we're able to hold the support level here on this arc, the next level is going to go up to would be around 24, somewhere around here at this arc. And that's going to be maybe resistance up here. If we're able to push through that over the years, then it's going to go up to 43. If we're able to push through about that, it's going to get to maybe like the 70s, maybe like 60s up here if it ends up being towards the end of this decade, right? That would actually be a little bit more consistent with these fib levels that you're seeing, right? As you get up to 1.618, it's going to be this arc up here. So that's going to be pretty strong resistance. If it decides to push through that like butter, then you're going to get to the 60s up here by the end of the decade. I think that price is probably going to end up grabbing up here over the next few years. And you're talking about, you know, if that ends up happening, you're talking about 15 bucks going to maybe like 40 to 60. You're talking about like 3x over the next 5 years. Not bad, you know, 5-6 years, not bad, right? If it doesn't end up doing that, I mean, yeah, obviously, but I follow a trend, and the trend is my friend, and because of that, I don't expect anything to happen. I just think that based on probability game, because of how strong the trend is showing right now, it's probably going to go up higher over the next 5 to 6 years, and those targets probably going to end up getting hit. We'll see how it goes. None of these things are deterministic; they're all probabilistic. And a lot of these indicators, otherwise, I'm going to show like the Ichimoku cloud is not going to show you anything here anymore. It's just broken way above like the Ichimoku cloud is not going to show you anything anymore. You might potentially get some resistance up here around like $20, but I think that this bull trend is probably going to end up just keep pushing higher over time. So there's nothing for me to really get scared about. There's nothing for me to really get worried about. I can ride through volatility. Just remember, for some volatile stock like SoFi, it can literally go up and down for like 20-30% in a week, and it does not necessarily change the trend at all. Trend is your friend. Cost, money, the actual price may not be. I just want to kind of point it out. They're going to try to affect your sentiment in one way or another by manipulating price, by doing whatever it is that they need to do. But I follow trend, and trend is my friend. Anyway, just wanted to talk real quick about SoFi. You guys take care. Have a happy new year. Bye.